Hey everyone, and welcome to the Infinite Respawn podcast. I'm Chicken.
I'm Oak Tree.
I'm Griff.
I'm Parker.
What's up, guys?
What up?
How's it going? Hope
been a
everybody
while.
had,
Good.
a good holiday last week, and before that, a good not anything week, but we weren't here week.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been no
Story
shortage.
of our life.
But we're here now, and hopefully, by being here right now means that the show will actually make it to people.
We'll have to see. We got to take it step by step nowadays.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah,
One
we got to
thing at a
go
time now.
build the bridge as we walk across it.
What games has everybody
Trying-
been playing?
Well, we've been playing Halo a lot.
Yeah.
I did a Civilization 6 game, and right after I got off the call with Chicken, because I only had like 17 more turns to win the game, because I was doing the last thing for sending the thing to Mars, the rocket part. And I got to 2 turns left, and America won by culture.
Oh!
Oh no!
Oh, wow.
I was pissed. So I'm not playing that one for a bit.
You should have just nuked them.
I
That's what
didn't
it
have the
usually
nukes. I
does.
was like, I've got this person researching nukes, and I completely forgot about it, so I didn't build an actual nuke. And I just started focusing on getting the parts up, and there was like two turns left, and it's like, oh yeah, we win by culture.
That's what you get for breaking from your regular plan of nuking the planet.
No, that's what I get for trying to do anything else other than just kill everything.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
He said it in different
No,
terms.
yeah, but I don't ever use like nukes when I do it. I just like from right in the beginning, I'm super aggressive, and I just kill everything.
So kill everything. So points
I
in.
started one too, and I tried to be peaceful, but for some fucking reason, the AI always tried to just start shit with you. So I was like, all right, fine. I'm pretty decently ahead, so I'm gonna start spitting out some units. And I just took one of their cities because they put it close to me. Took another city, and they're like, "Hey, can you chill out?" And I was like, "Fuck you!" And I went for their third city, and the other one that declared war on me too. And they're like, We're good, right, bro? And I was like, yeah, we're fine. I'm going to go wreck this motherfucker, and then your turn's next. I'll see you shortly.
None of them were ever aggressive with me the whole game.
Yeah, they got aggressive with
It's
me
because
right out of
culture
the
wins,
fucking
you don't
game.
have to be aggressive. You just mind your own business and everybody forgets about you until you're like, hey, look, I guess I won, you guys.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
sometimes different based on the AI is how they'll portray, because I did continents. So I've got Russia, who's being super passive, and they're more culture-based. And then two aggressive cultures that are trying to start war with me. So I'm just taking one out, and then I'm going to take the other one out, and I'll share the continent with Russia. But as long as they keep to themselves.
I had Gandhi in my game, and he was never aggressive with me. He
That
was
is
aggressive
surprising.
You
with
got the
everyone
rarity.
else.
You got the 0.1% times that happens.
Must have been
No,
a bug.
he was aggressive with everyone else, but he was not aggressive with me.
That's funny. That's funny.
We traded goods.
Trading them goods.
You should trade a little faster so you get shit done quicker. By 2 turns. That's ridiculous. I'd be so mad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
gotta be rough.
like I said, I'm not. I think I'm gonna go to Shogun, because if I'm aggressive there, at least I can actually control the aggressiveness more.
Yeah. 3 Kingdoms, man. 3 Kingdoms is so good. We'll have to run a co-op campaign at some point once you get it.
I voted for it for something for the Game Awards. I don't remember what it was. That strategy game, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, it is an incredible strategy game for sure.
Yeah. I want to get that, and I want to get the planet, Zoo Planet or whatever.
The one by cities, or the one that did
The-
The
City
same people who
Skylines?
did the Planet Coaster.
Oh yeah, Planet Zoo or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
I want to make a zoo.
You want to make a zoo?
A zoo, like a zoo.
hope
I can't
it's
blame you, I would
different
too.
than Zoo Tycoon, because Zoo Tycoon I didn't care for.
It's on Game Pass, and I tried it up again, and it really is just meh.
Yeah.
But
Well, that
playing
game
it-
was originally designed for the Kinect. That's what that game was originally designed
might be
for.
part of
So
the
it's like they
problem.
had to readapt it for a regular
it's called
control.
Planet Zoo.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's good. It's a lot closer to the like Planet Coaster.
yeah. But Zoo Tycoon is also like whatever your Xbox One came out 8 years ago.
Yeah, it was one of the launch titles, I think.
Hey, wait,
Or shortly after.
Was it that or? I think it came out with it. I don't think it came out with 360.
It came out within at least the same year.
Yeah,
It wasn't.
So
a
They were trying to. They were trying to push it with the Kinect.
right.
Which Zoo Tycoon?
Yeah.
No, which one?
I didn't
first
know there
one.
was more than one.
Yeah, because the original Zoo Tycoon came out in 2001, which I would say is a few years before the Xbox One.
Okay, so let's go to the Xbox. Actually, 2001 could have been an Xbox One, technically.
Just like with Roller Coaster Tycoon, they did versions of it on the PC beforehand.
Yeah, so it'll be the second one. When did that come out?
Okay, Zoo Tycoon 2 came out in...
No.
That can't be it either.
No, it's just
they
Zoo
did a
Tycoon,
sequel.
but you're going to have to look at the year.
Just Zoo Tycoon
it's
Xbox One. Google it.
I am. And... That ain't helping. All I'm getting is just the original one from 2001.
Because no one wants to remember the
What is it? Zoo Tycoon Connect? I don't fucking know. It's not even telling me.
Just ignore it. Everyone else has.
Zoo Tycoon Ultimate Animal Collection Connect?
November 22nd, 2013.
Okay, there you go. What's that game called?
Zoo Tycoon.
Yeah, it's called Zoo Tycoon.
I just googled.
Your
Zoo
wife is
Tycoon
just better at
Xbox
Googling.
One release date.
Oh, okay. You had to make sure you were very specific about which one you were looking at.
She just knows how to Google at the end of the day. That's how that works.
Hey, she's had to learn it from me.
It actually was on 360 as well, apparently.
Okay, I thought it was. I thought I played it on 360.
I didn't think it was, but it is.
It was.
Well,
Nobody
yeah.
plays 360s anymore.
Well,
Because I think I have it in the other room.
now we know.
That's right.
And knowing is not part of this battle.
I've been playing Planet Coaster a lot too. I don't know. I've just been in a buildy mood lately. So
I have two,
I'm trying
actually.
to
No, I haven't
maximize my
been playing
Planet
that, but-
Coaster, like my park building, because I get bottlenecks of people. And I had this one. I had a ride where I set everything up, the entrance, the exit, let it run its test run, and then opened the ride to the public and whatnot, and went about my business. And I started focusing on a completely different part of the park after that. And I got a pop-up a little while later, and it was like, too many guests are stuck in the park or something like that, or like stranded. And I was like, that's weird. Everything should be connected to the entrances and exits. It should be all good. And so I go looking for it, and it's the ride that I had worked on, and it's been like 7 days in game time. So they've been there for a week. But apparently the way that I had the exit connected to the main path, it wasn't actually connected, even though it very much was. So when I did it, it just popped out like 200 people just popped out of this friggin' ride. Talk about your bottleneck. They're all just standing there like, what do we do? I was like, why did it wait for a week?
They can't handle the grass. If it's not a road, they can't walk on it.
It was a road. It just, I mean,
couldn't
I
climb
guess
over a rail.
it was something like how the staircase bent down from it, and I guess they couldn't take the turn or something. I don't know. But all of a sudden, 200 people just popped out of that ride, and they're all like, "Yay, let's go again!"
They're backlogged.
Like, why'd you wait a week to say something, anybody? Whatever. It was really funny.
That's funny.
And we did do some Halo, but not as much as we would have liked because, I don't know, something hates me, specifically. It's me. Because when we play...
It's our router.
Because we're playing on PC, and this has happened on a couple of other PC games too, but it still hates me more.
It does with Xbox games too.
We'll get into a group, and it'll be the four of us. It'll be me, Chicken, and Red and Baka. And we'll load into a game, and they'll get in just fine, and I'll get kicked out. So I spent most of the time that they played waiting in a lobby by myself so that we could try again. Which really sucks because unlike things like Overwatch, Halo doesn't backfill, so they're just short a person the whole time.
I will say the absolute worst part about that shit is that when we first started it, I thought that's what the problem was again, that we were having connection issues and whatnot. I was like super upset, couldn't figure out, nothing would fucking work. And I went in there and it wasn't a connection issue. She was having actual trouble with the game.
Yeah,
So
there
I
was a
like,
game
oh,
file that
okay,
needed to
she
be
can't
repaired.
fucking play the game, so that seems to be the goddamn problem. So, do the most stereotypical thing you could do with Steam games is verify the game cache, and it fixed it. Her game ran fine. She jumped into a game. It worked. She jumped into a game with me. It worked. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm so excited. I can't wait to finally get into a game like this. Let's do this. We load up, we queue, we get into a game, it drops her again. And I'm telling you, I've been pretty close, but I swear, I just wanted to just hole my monitor. Just to hole it.
Yep.
Oh.
Same. I was so mad because like we've been looking forward to Halo. Like that Halo hype has been so real for us, and then I can't play most of the time. Like I can't play multiplayer. We can play Firefight together and it doesn't drop me out. We can play campaign
we just have to
together.
reset the router every single time.
Yeah, like after every
starts
game
doing
that
it.
takes forever. And it also
No,
means
it
you
should
can't
be like a
stream
couple
it.
of games. Yeah, it's a couple of games, and then you got to reset the router. And yes, that's another fucking thing. I can't stream Halo because I got to reset the router to play with Griff. And if I stream WoW, then my computer crashes. Holy shit! Can a brother catch a break?
No, you can't.
No, apparently not. I like everybody is like, no, you don't get a break.
It's so frustrating.
Well, fuck. Yes, it is.
I mean, surely we cannot be the only people on the planet that are playing PC games in the same household on the same router. How does it work for everybody else? Like,
There's still whole stream houses, right?
yeah,
There's whole houses where people
and
live.
they surely don't have everybody playing on different routers, right?
No, they've got very expensive routers.
No, there's no way.
Very expensive routers.
I don't know. I guess we'll have to look into that.
If you have any suggestions, please let me fucking know.
This week has been a
Holy
lot
shit.
of technical problems because we had that, and then Friday I got home and turned my computer on, and it was like only recognizing one monitor, and the resolution was jacked. And I don't know what happened. I guess some of my drivers fell out of date, and that incurred some sort of bug or something. But it basically uninstalled my graphics card drivers, which was the problem.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, her second monitor wasn't working, and the resolution of her monitor that she was using was not right. It was almost looked like it was just an onboard graphics card. So we opened up GeForce, updated the drivers, went back to perfectly normal.
Yeah. It just needed to like reinstall some driver stuff for the graphics card and all good. But I don't know why it decided randomly to not be like that. Uninstall. I don't know.
That's crazy.
I don't know. Yeah, it is ridiculous. But at least this week I've gotten to play a bit more Days Gone. At least I have something I can stream and play
Yeah.
that I'm actually enjoying. I don't get my other two options, but I'm really enjoying Days Gone. I think I'm probably about 75% of the way through the game. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm going to finish it, and then my next game I've already decided is going to be Darksiders Genesis. I'll buy
It's
it.
getting pretty decent reviews, so that's good.
Yeah. I'm
We know
super
Chicken, he's
excited.
going to support anything that Darksiders franchise does.
Yes.
That is true.
Like to see more Darksiders. I'd like to see more of that universe.
I'd
Come on,
like
they
to see
got-
more of the Legacy
mean
of
Earth?
Kain universe, but
More of the what, Naka?
Legacy of Kain.
Good luck.
They might
I've
have a
seen a lot of
secret
people
for ya.
asking about that.
Yeah, they've got like 35 projects in the works over at THQ Nordic, so that might be
Maybe
one of
eventually.
them.
Maybe Biomutant will eventually get finished at some point. Maybe.
I was
It could
just
happen.
about to say that too. I was like, it's been quiet on the radar as Biomutant.
It's still quiet.
Yeah, because I went 2 years of playing it at PAX West. THQ Nordic wasn't at PAX West this year, so I didn't get to play Biomutant for a third time. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Ooh, I wonder if they're planning on announcing the release date at the Game Awards because
Which
it's
is
still
Thursday.
slated for 2019 everywhere. It's still slated to
I
come
don't
out this
foresee
year.
them launching it this year. I mean, not like right before Christmas when most everybody's done.
Yeah, I don't see him doing that at all.
And everything. I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I don't see him doing that at all.
Well,
I could see them announcing a date at the awards this week, but I don't see them launching it like alongside that announcement.
You're like, hey, it's going to be available tonight.
And everybody's like, well, damn, I already spent my entire budget on Christmas, so.
Ha! Yeah, right. Nobody spends their entire budget.
A lot of people do.
Most people could be saying money.
They could be saying first quarter this next year. It's a possibility.
Yep.
So, which would be nice, but it'd also be cool too if they were like, you know, right at the beginning of the year. So they're like, you know, January 7th, boom, done. You know, that type.
Yeah. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis 2. That'd be nice to just release it 1 year after Resident Evil 2.
Mm-hmm.
Chicken's all hyped about that one. I mean, I am too. I'm interested to see.
Which I'm finding ironic, seeing as how Resident Evil 2 is looking to like take all of the game, like all of the awards this year. A game that was made in 1998 got remade this year.
This is the year for nostalgia, man. Like I've seen memes everywhere of like how I started the decade.
Actually, the last few have been really
because it's been like Red Dead 1 and Red Dead 2 were starting and ending, like bookending this decade. Halo Reach was the start of the decade, and now it's ending the decade. There's just so many nostalgic games.
WoW Classic is coming back 15 years later. Resident Evil 2, they're like, hey, we can remake old games. And then they just blew it out of the fucking water.
Yeah,
like,
Minecraft got a resurgence this year, and it's a decade old.
Yep.
The old games were well made.
Everything new is like, here's a multiplayer thing that you need to spend a fortune on. Look at all of these skins. We're trying to be a Fortnite clone because of how successful Fortnite is. Buy our stuff. It's like, maybe that's not what people are looking for.
No, we're looking for games that are fun and interactive and just not mindless grind like most shooters are these days. Like, I can appreciate the Halo Battle Pass thing where as you level up, you unlock season points and then you can just unlock
I don't like that at
armor
all.
skins. Oh, and you don't play very many other games. This is probably the best way that I have seen a shooter do it.
Why didn't they just
all the other ones
relaunch
are
it with
awful
the same
grind.
setup to be like from before? You play the games, you earn your in-game currency, and then you spend it on the things that you want to unlock. Not you're forced to unlock these things in this order, and the stuff that you want may not be in this season. That's so irritating to me.
Man, it is so much better than the other ones. That's all
part of the reason that you're going to do that, though, that you're going to have the seasons and stuff, is because that's what everybody is doing now is seasons. So you've got to appeal to a younger crowd.
Why would you try to retro?
Because you got to appeal to the younger crowd.
On top of how they're releasing the Halo games. The first one is going to be the Halo Reach season. Like, this is all the Halo Reach stuff. This is how we're going to do it. The season's going to come to an end. Halo Combat Evolved is going to come out. We're going to have the Halo Combat Evolved season, all of this stuff, and then 2, 3, ODST, and 4. Like, they're just planning on kind of chopping it up and giving you full, like, loads of stuff in each one. Because, I mean, for $40, you get 6 games and a shitload of content. I mean, it's almost uncomparable to anything else any other company is selling, in my opinion.
Well, sorry. It's just going to get the collective eye roll from me. And that's fine. It's my opinion. I'm allowed to have it.
Your opinion.
Yes, you are.
I preferred it much better in its original format.
To be fair,
I don't disagree with that.
Every part of the original one was a lot better than this one. The UI, the matchmaking, the firefight, pretty much everything was better because you at least had a choice on what you wanted to play. Now it's just grouped and then dropped into a game. So, I mean, there's really no interaction. Plus, I think if I'm not mistaken, it drops you out. Like, once you're done with the game, it drops you back out and you re-queue again instead of just sticking with the same crowd and playing with the same
we've had
people.
to leave the lobby every time.
Well, I've never let it queue up again.
Yeah, but you don't leave. Like, you have to actually leave the lobby just like you used to. It would still queue you back up.
Not as far as what people were saying, because every time they're playing, they're just getting dropped out. Or basically, once that the breakdown is over, then it drops you back into another queue. Drops everybody out of the queue. I usually leave before the Carnage report is done and the next game queues up.
That's weird.
Because we can't ever play 2 games in a row.
Yes, tell me about it.
Well, you see, we're having...
I'm gonna punch you in the face.
Don't worry,
I
I'm
did,
not afraid of
Let
her.
me get my camera.
On a different
I'm
note,
not
I
afraid of
finished Outer Worlds actually, and
Did you enjoy the ending? Like, was it as satisfying as the rest of the game?
No. I'm a little sad. Like, I feel like once we got to the end, they're like, okay, how do we need to finish this up. What do we do? Okay, it's over, everybody. Here's your backstory on what happened to everybody and everything after you left. And you didn't leave. I guess after everything finished up. And see you next time, folks. It's like, it was a little truncated, I guess. The final boss fight was not really a fight.
Was it quick play type stuff? Or
No,
what
it
was
wasn't action buttons. It was like fight this person, but it was like fight this person, but it's one person and they didn't up their difficulty at all. Like I shot that person like 3 times and they died. And it was over. End of the game. I was like, I feel like they were just out of time and didn't really have a great idea of how to, like, it seemed like you had all of this
So it
stuff
wasn't like
leading
Mass
up to
Effect
the
where you had
big
this
bad.
strategy you had to, in order to be able to get past the bad guys then, right?
What do you mean?
Like with Mass Effect, I felt like the last battles that you're fighting or whatever, that it was difficult, but you had to have some type of strategy to stay away from them. Where in your case, you could just go pop, 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 done.
Yeah, and I mean the stuff leading up to it was relatively easy too. Like your whole end area was pretty easy. There was one thing that was supposed to be a big boss kind of deal, and it had a lot of health, and it would call ads into the fight, and you had to deal with the ads and everything. But all I did was run around the room and kind of kite it. It really didn't. It wasn't difficult at all. So I liked, overall, I really felt that game was solid up until the end. Like, the whole end area was just lackluster compared to the rest of the game, which was such a gem. It was still really enjoyable, and I 100% recommend it. I just feel like it failed to deliver on the completion. So.
Interesting. So, and you went good the whole way, right? You weren't like a dickbag the entire time?
Yeah, I was nice to everybody. I was a good person. So. But it was pretty good, though.
What would you say your completion was on it?
What do you mean?
Like all your side quests, everything? Did you get 100%?
I did everything aside from, like, you've got it broken down into your main mission, your side missions, your companion quests, and then there's, like, tasks that you can do. I didn't really bother with most of the tasks. I did a couple of them, but they were all, like one of the final ones that I got was this lady wanted to see me model some outfits for her, so I would have had to have gone back to like 3 different planets to kill people there to get their complete outfits and then wear them in front of her, and I was like, that's just a bullshit waste of time. I'm not doing that.
It's an odd task.
Yeah, it was a task. So I didn't do that, but I did every side quest that I picked up.
Here, I need your boots. Boom.
Yeah. Every side quest I picked up, I did. Every companion mission, I did. All the main missions, I did. So I would say my completion is pretty high. Just didn't do the tasks. I know tasks.
Well, I'm just
100%
wondering that
but...
because with any type of RPG, you're building up the character as you go. It's because of the amount of work you put into it. Your character was almost OP for what they had set up at the end.
I don't think so. I just think just even the story, the way that the story wrapped up was lackluster. So even from a non-mechanical standpoint, it was a short part, like a failure in the game. I'm not saying it's like the worst thing I've ever experienced and it was terrible, and no, it was okay. But it was kind of like you set the benchmark pretty high with your writing and how clever everything was and whatnot. And then when you finally got to the end, it's like you let the C team come in that's not really as strong with writing and finish things up for you. It's like, maybe I wouldn't have done it that way, but I guess you needed to finish the game and that's what you did, so here we are.
Yeah, that's usually the problem with most games is they don't know how to finish them quite well.
Well, I mean, this one, it had a slow start for me, too, it was hard for me to attach to what I was supposed to be doing, and I ended up not attaching to that. I ended up attaching to my crew more than anything. It's like, I'll do anything for these people. I understand I have things to do over here, but these people are what's important to me. So.
Makes sense.
Oh. Enjoyable.
Well, I finished Star Wars Fallen Order.
And it was good.
It was really good.
Did
and
they
it fits
do the
into the
ending
canon
good?
So well. Do I know?
Did they
was
did
the
they
ending
end it well?
Oh my god. I was screaming, fanboying the fuck out the entire time all the shit's going on at the end. It is fantastic. It ends the way it should, and it sets it up for the next one, which I'm looking forward to, because I like this premise of the fact that you have this game that takes place 5 years after episode 3, and you've got the Mandalorian that's taken 5 years after
6.
5 years after episode 6. So, and so what I find interesting about it is, one is an episodic thing that you're going to get for, to take place after that, to build into the next set of trilogies, right? Where this one, you already know what happens in 4, 5, and 6, and how are they going to lead up and make certain things happen. I think it's just so brilliant on the way it's done, and I'm really, really, as a Star Wars guy, I'm like, this is what I've wanted. Why the fuck have we not had a good single player game in so long for Star Wars? Oh, that's right. EA's been in charge.
People have been afraid of single player games. People, come on, there is a place for them.
Yeah.
Well, and they announced that it was like, one of their fastest selling games that they've had, and it's like, yeah, because you put Respawn on it, who can write a fucking plot line. You trounced them when Titanfall 2 came out. You just kind of went, have a nice day, even though it's a good game. and it's like, it would have done really well if you had, put some backing behind it, but you're like, okay, whatever. But I absolutely loved it. And then on top of that, over the last couple weeks, we've been playing the new update to Sea of Thieves, which, the game has always been fun to me, but it's even more enjoyable when you can catch shit on fire, including your own friends. It's great.
Griff is now into it again.
Yeah.
No, nobody's gonna play it with me because I'll set them on fire most of the time, probably on accident.
I'll just stay in the water in the boat behind you.
They've added inside of each boat as well. There's a water barrel, so if your boat does catch on fire or whatever, you've got a water barrel. It's down at the bottom. You just pull a level, and that lever ends up like filling up this barrel, and then I think you get 3 or 4 of your buckets out of it. So it's kind of a cool concept, in the fact that you can put yourself out, you can put your friends out. They're supposed to be adding into the game to where you can even puke your friends out.
Ew.
You got to do it. I mean, technically it's liquid.
We're out of water. Let me puke on you.
Here, let me go get some alcohol. You feel better? No.
Or you could eat a raw fish, technically,
and
do the same thing.
Make that worse?
Well, not because you're drunk and throwing up, not because of you're not throwing the alcohol on it.
Yeah, so. It depends if you just if you chug it and then spit it back up, maybe. But you got to make sure that it digests a little, really gets in there.
Really, this is no thanks. Carry on.
We got to play the new Tall Tale as well, which I really enjoyed. I thought it was brilliantly done. I love the voice acting on it. But I from start to finish, it's just kind of a cool concept on how it goes. It goes along with the lore. The lore continues to build inside of Sea of Thieves, which I think is fantastic. So if you haven't finished the Tall Tales, I recommend going back and continuing through those, which we'll probably start over with those 2 because we have to get through 5 of them on each one. But this last one was brilliant the way it was done. You get when you finish it, you get a sword at the end. That looks kind of like a lightsaber because it's shiny. But the mechanics themselves, it's funny to me, some of the stuff that they've added into the game on a regular basis, because you have ghost sloops and stuff that pop up a little bit more often. Like they'll come up out of the water next to you. Catching ships on fire is so satisfying. But you remember when you're shooting the skeleton ships and they couldn't use a bucket in order to be able to put out fires? Somehow the fire on some of the ships gets put out. I'm like, you can't use a bucket. I mean, sorry, to empty their boat. They weren't able to do before.
Save themselves from sinking, essentially.
Yeah, but for some reason they could put out fire. Like, I'm like, what? It's so weird. It's like, it's the same damn mechanic. What's your problem? but they've changed up. The Fort of the Dam was really cool when they did that one. And with this one, what they did is, if you remember, one of the things they added was the cloud in the sky that looks like the big ship. Mm-hmm. That's now red. And those ships that you fight against actually shoot out the fire bombs. So on top of your curse and all that stuff, they're shooting out fire bombs too. And so you're having to shoot fire bombs back at them. And it's just like, it's fun.
Pure chaos.
Yeah, it's chaos, but it's so fun. So we had a good time with that. I also went back to the forest, which was because I've been kind of like Griff. I've been dealing with building games for some reason. I just like building stuff. Mine just happens to be first person, I guess. The survival style game. In fact, tonight I think we're playing Raft. No Pants and I are playing Raft. For the same concept
like
of being
it's like kids art.
Like Sea of Thieves survival, right? I mean, it's why not? So I think that with that game, some of the things that they changed on it are quite interesting. One of which, I'm not sure why it's there. Now I'm going to have to go through and read and figure everything out. But they've got a giant sinkhole that is massive. I'm talking hundreds of yards across both directions diameter. I mean, it's massive. So I just built my house next to it because I'm sure this is in-game shit. So I'm just going to do that.
Can you fall down it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got lucky because I glitched through a part of it, and it just allowed me to slide all the way down to the bottom so I could see what was in the bottom and go through. Because you can play now, the way that game is set up, you can play with the monsters, the cannibalistic tribes, or you can play without. Well, since they changed the game up and some of the mechanics, I didn't know how it was going to go. So I just played without the monsters, and I was like, okay, well, we'll see how this goes. So I'm looking over the side and slide down to the bottom. Well, that's definitely the in-game area. But there was nothing to fight or anything like that, so I was able to kind of explore a little bit. But there are certain... That game's set up differently than most RPGs are. Most RPGs, of course, or not RPGs, but survival games are set up to where as you build XP, you then unlock areas, you get the points, and then you can unlock what you want, right? Well, this is set up to where as you find items, you learn to do things, which I think is a kind of a cool concept instead of having it forces you to explore the area because there might be a particular bow or something like that you want, or a katana blade, and you have to explore in order to be able to get those. Chainsaw, things like that, which comes in handy when you're trying to cut down trees.
So, you don't say.
Right? Or chop up, the bad guys, depending on which way you want to go with it. But, so it's, but I've been enjoying that one. I went back to Overlord a little bit, which is, one of my all-time favorite games. I just absolutely love the game. I did it just kind of as a relaxing, chill out thing.
Overlord 3 win?
Never.
Never.
Hey. Who owns Overlord now? Overlord?
How much longer until THQ buys them?
Or do they already own them and they're working on it?
Oh my god, that would be great. That would be great. But yeah, so I played a little bit of it, and then it was kind of a relaxing week. I didn't have a whole lot going on. I did play some Halo Reach as well, some of the single player campaign. I just happened to be really tired that night, and so I ended up going to bed earlier than I normally would have. Otherwise, I was going to go into some multiplayer stuff, but it looks fantastic on PC. Oh my god, that game looks gorgeous. So, especially one that's that old, So, looks really good. Did you find it? Who owns it?
Codemasters.
So no, but
Man.
THQ might buy it one day.
Yeah, they
Right?
might. Parent company is Reliance, so they don't own them anymore. Oh yeah, independent video game developer now. Okay, maybe not. Maybe we'll never see it again.
Nope. Maybe it'll be a Kickstarter.
Wouldn't that be nice?
And then it'll end up going Epic exclusive after everybody promised on Steam. What?
And then it's as good as Shenmue 3, which was not at all.
The water world of video games. Still one of my favorite lines ever.
Yeah. That one probably disappointed a lot of people. You guys want to talk about news since we've got like 2 weeks worth of stuff?
It's been quiet still.
Thankfully. Because we spent half an hour discussing just what we did, so.
That's true. True that.
We've been busy. This is what happens when you let us have 2 weeks of free time, which is going to happen again. So, like, we got this show, next week's show, and then we're off for 2 weeks again. Yeah.
Woo! Because Christmas is already here in 2020, the next start of the decade. I will be buying my VR system halfway through this next decade.
Is that the plan?
I've been saying it since, like, the Oculus
said
first
10 years.
released. Yeah.
He said 10 years. That's true.
2025. The VR headsets will be a lot better priced and be a lot more advanced.
Well, what news stuff do you want to talk about?
We can talk some of the minor stuff, I guess. Well, I guess it's probably not minor to some people. Bethesda has announced that its content development for their card game, their version of Hearthstone, if you will, which is the Elder Scrolls Legend, is now officially on hold. I don't think the game performed as well as they wanted it to, for sure.
Yeah, I do not.
I've seen it at the last 3 PAX West. They've had it, and they've had like 25, 30 PCs for people to go on and play it and do stuff like that. So they've been promoting the shit out of it. I just don't think it plays the same way. They have to me, had some cool concepts, which was, I like the fact that they had like a story mode, if you will, as a tutorial, so you can go in and learn how to play the game and play through. I thought they had some really good concepts. I just think Hearthstone's too much of a juggernaut to compete with. And it's just gonna probably take a little while for somebody to be able to compete at that level. And Bethesda ain't gonna do it with all the other problems they're having.
No, it's probably part of the reason why they decided to go ahead and drop this one.
Bethesda doing so well
focus.
right now, as we all know.
Right.
I just really hope they don't drop the ball with the next Elder Scrolls.
Well, I mean, I imagine that's probably part of why they're putting a lot of stuff on hold, is because they're shifting resources towards that, so that we can hopefully get something good out of it, and it won't be a Fallout 76 situation.
All they have to do is keep doing what they were doing. Like, just make a good Elder Scrolls game and release it. Or, then that's it. There you go. Simple. Don't try to do anything fancy. Don't try to fucking make it an MMO, another MMO. Just simple.
Well, we'll see. Companies seem to have a hard time going back to what they used to be able to do.
Not Capcom. Capcom's literally just fucking Yui'd that motherfucker and went back the other way. And they're like, well, Resident Evil 7 saved our company entirely. We're going to go ahead and release DMC 5. We're going to go back to our roots. That's incredible. We're going to go ahead and release Resident Evil 2. That's incredible. Well, now look how incredible we are again.
Let's do Resident
everything
Evil
they're
3.
touching right now is gold.
Yeah.
Like, it is, they've done a really good job. But to be fair, a lot of that's, I mean, it's old IPs that they're bringing forward that are popular. I mean, it's the way to go.
Yes.
And they're
You
doing
don't
it
necessarily
the right
need a
way.
new IP in order to be able to succeed, right?
Yes. I mean, you could just do the same. Because, I mean, they've already said they're working on Resident Evil.
I mean, look at Valve. They're successful, and they haven't released a new IP in how long?
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
shit.
running off their old platforms, though.
Well, they're mostly they're working on VR because they're pushing VR heavy. I'm pretty sure that the Half-Life VR game is probably going to be one of the best-selling VR games released.
Oh, I guarantee. That definitely. Let's see. Other minor things. Let's talk about refunds for a minute. Speaking of Valve, they had to cancel some orders for basically, I would say they're like $5 versions of, or $6 versions of their controller, which are normally about
95% off for $5.
Yep.
Yeah, so you had them for $5. You could buy it. There was supposed to be a limited amount. The computer glitched, and a bunch of people were supposed to get it that weren't. I guess our thought process is: do you honor that because the glitch was on your side?
But isn't it the reason that they marked them down so much is because they discontinued them altogether?
No, they discontinued
they were more or less
TV
trying
part
to
of
get
it.
rid of they were trying to get rid of the rest of their inventory because they did have some left, but they were just trying to get rid of them. That's why they're 95% off.
Yeah, it's
$50 is
result
$5.
of Valve's decision to cease production on the device. So I'd say you have to cancel the orders because there are no more. Like, you can't honor
That's
them
true.
because
I would
they
agree
don't
with that.
exist.
And they're not making any more.
Yeah, those products are not being made. It's an obsolete thing. So
I will say the top comment on this article is absolutely gold. I do love the idea of people getting miffed over no longer being able to buy a thing that's now unavailable because nobody wanted to buy it.
yeah, that circle logic is crazy.
You're mad because you can't buy it, but you didn't buy it when they wanted you to buy it.
That's too
all
funny.
right.
It's people logic.
Yeah. It's like, dude, you didn't want
Backed
it.
by
then?
popular
no
demand. What?
shit. Wait, what? And then nobody buys it again? It's like, oh my god, you people.
Of course, it'll end up being like a furniture store. Oh, we found some in the back. You know, we're closing. We're going out of business. We found some in the back. Going out of business again.
Going out of business again.
Jimmy was hiding a box of them.
Yeah, got him.
Oh, look, we've got 150. First come, first serve. Done.
Sell it for $10, doubling your profit.
That's right. Get that shit done. Too funny. Other refunds. Google offers refunds after adding games to their new Stadia Pro subscription that were available to buy the week before, I believe. And so, but here's the catch. You have to ask for the refund.
Yeah, you're like, I bought that game. Can I have my money back?
Yeah, so...
And if you don't, they'll just keep your money, and then you are screwed.
Well, and theoretically, if it's like the other subscription services, like Xbox subscription service, it would be a rotating system anyway. Where one, you would own the game. The other one, you're just... Hopefully you complete it, right? So, kind of like that. But there you have it. You too can get Stadia that works like garbage, and at the same time get a refund. Huh?
Hot
I
garbage.
just don't understand what Google was thinking with Stadia. Like, ISPs are garbage as is, but you think that because you're making a thing that streams stuff, that they'll just be like, okay, we'll be better now.
What's the incentive? Here's my logic, and here's the way I look at it from outside in. Google has their own thing, right? Mm-hmm. So they have their own IPP that they can, or ISP that they can do things with. Right. So, meanwhile, those of us that have like Comcast or whatever, there is no incentive for Comcast to do it because Google says so.
Well, I mean, Comcast
your competitors
specifically kept Google out of certain areas because Google offers a better program with fiber. And so why would they want to be nice to a direct competitor offering a better service?
Yeah, right? That doesn't buy into the oligopoly system that everybody else does.
Oh, it sucks so much to own. Like, basically, Comcast has everybody by the balls. They're like, ha ha ha, you want to play games online? Well, too bad. Sucks to be you. Yeah. It's like, well, we have either you or you, and both of these companies suck.
Yeah,
which I think is funny because they don't want Google to come in, but it's supposed to be free enterprise, something like that for competitive.
It's supposed to be,
everybody's
but it's
supposed
not.
to be
it's
able
really
to
not.
bring whatever they want.
There's
and
like
compete
7
wherever they
companies
want.
that own everything, so.
But because Comcast has so much
Google
money,
comes in, we'll be out of business.
Comcast doesn't have as much money as Google does.
Yeah, I was going to say. Let the customers decide. And if we decide to go somewhere else, maybe that means you should fix your shit.
People don't do that,
but
though.
They set up an oligopoly system that allows them to be able to set up zones. And you can, theoretically, run into somebody else's zone and have an overlap that's there. The problem is all those companies get together, and that's why all the prices seem to be about the same. Everything else, monopolies are illegal, but the oligopolies are not. Yeah. So it's like this allows them to be able to be competitors and yet keep themselves safe. So you've got somebody like Google to run. We had a former customer of mine that he used to work for the local cable company, not Comcast, but one of their competitors. And I asked him once before, like, why aren't they just all over the place? He said, because to run 1 mile of cable, and this was 15 years ago, he said cost $1 million. So for every mile, think $1 million is what it's costing them to run. Well, so how much money do they have to make back, and how long, does that raise the prices, or are they making it enough to be able to pay for it? That type thing. So they have to, that's kind of where they look at it too, which is why the further you go away from a big city, so the less population there is, the less likely you are to have internet from a cable company, or even have cable in some cases.
Well, that's why satellite is good, and Elon Musk's plan to put weather or Wi-Fi balloons in the sky to kind of give access to internet, at least some form of internet everywhere, a lot cheaper than running a mile of wire.
Yeah. Well, and we have, like, in the state of Alabama, there's actually a rule that everybody needs to have access to internet. They passed a law a couple years ago about that, or a year ago about that. So, which I think should be more commonplace. But I think part of that is how do you do that? How do you help these companies do that? So theoretically, the state of Alabama would help subsidize and allow them to be able to run that out further, or help put up a tower for your phone companies that allow people to be able to have internet access. Because the further you get away from a highway, the less likely you are to have cellular towers. So I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see how that ends up. But Stadia is ahead of its time. The problem is, it's the same thing I said about Kinect. Kinect ahead of its time. People aren't going to get it. 10 years from now, people are going to get it because everybody's going to be doing something very similar to it. And you start to see elements of that in things that are done. But people aren't going to get it. Start with, game companies didn't get it. They just didn't.
I think we're going to run into the same problem with the Project Scarlet too, because they're trying to make that a heavy streaming console too. And I think we're going to run into the same problem.
I'm hoping that a lot of people are looking at what Stadia is like, how Stadia is doing, and realizing that we're not to the point.
The infrastructure is not there to support this kind of technology, because they look at Japan and they do this, but Japan's a lot closer, and their technology and infrastructure is a lot better than ours.
Well, so for that particular thing, yes, you're correct. But the other thing is too, is right now you've got, like, I've got friends that are in the Cloud Project X that Xbox has going on, and I'm watching them. Like, I've seen actual videos of them streaming from their Xbox through the cloud to their phone at a different location. So that technology that's there allows them to be able to do it. And it's hands down better than what Stadia's got set up. And I think it's just because Xbox and Microsoft, they build servers. That's what they do on a regular basis. Their infrastructure is built off that. Where Google...
Not very good, because we can't play Halo. Fuck.
That sounds like a router issue to me. That's a router issue to me. That's at home, man. That's at home.
It's not my fault that they won't let us play their game.
So I think that's where, as technology improves, I think the Stadia will get there. I think Microsoft has a better shot of making it work because they're doing, to me, a more public version of this, a more public beta test, where I feel like Google kept it all within certain people. If you're an influencer some way, you were going to get that information that was out there, but that was it. And so you didn't get a vast majority of people who don't have some type of fiber internet. They have, just a regular internet. How do we get that to work for the average person versus this is our big goal. Let's just go ahead and put it out there. We don't care that we're going to let the cable companies, the internet companies, adjust to us, not the other way around. Where I think that Microsoft looks at the other way. They're not going to adjust to us. How do we get it to work on what's currently available? Then we can improve as technology improves. I think it's just a difference in, one is a very big vision. Props to Google for their big vision, but I think that Microsoft, especially after the last few,
for a long time, so they've got a
but they also understand. I think they're a little closer to reality based. I still think that there's some things that they've done that you're kind of like, really, but I think they're closer to reality based because they actually have to deal with the public. Where Google, they deal with the search engine all day.
Yeah,
they don't deal with the public as often. So, consumers, they know what consumers want and don't when it comes to Microsoft. So I think same thing with PlayStation. There's a reason PlayStation ended up going to Xbox or went to Microsoft and is using their cloud system now for PlayStation 5 when it comes out. They're going to be using their, Microsoft's own system because I think they have confidence that that's what's going to work. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Stadia, if it even sticks around. How long does Google hold on to it before they decide to, be like, okay, it's a wash.
Depends on how much.
Speaking of things that ended up washing out, Gearbox beleaguered Hero Shooter, the good old Battleborn, which we talked about before, was really well made, and was a good concept, but unfortunately the worst timing in video game history, and the fact that it had the juggernaut Overwatch that came out right after it that was more appealing to I think a bigger mass of people.
If I'm not mistaken, they did a free to play weekend the week of its release.
Yeah, they did.
We've talked about
sure
that.
did.
Yeah, they basically just 100% straight up shit on them. They're like, "Oh, you're gonna release a game? Well, we're just gonna run your ass straight over."
Right.
And it worked, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
I mean, it was a fun game. I really enjoyed it, the little bit that I played of it.
I am interested to see how this works out, because right now what they're saying is it's not going to be offline until next January. So not a month from now. So 2021, it almost sounds like they're trying to get a little bit of resurgence. They're going to check over the next 6 months.
They've already taken it off digital storefronts and everything, or all storefronts in general. You can't go out and...
You think?
Yeah, you can't buy anything. You can only get the premium. You can only buy currency. Like, the premium currency is going away on the 24th of February. So they're taking that away. Like, it's over. They're not hoping that this comes back. It's dead. So.
Well, then done. But then just kill it. I don't understand why giving people a year at that point.
So that it's not such a shock to the system that people are like, oh man, I didn't know that game I bought was going to go away like that. Now you've got a year to play it. I don't want to hear it in December 2020 that you're sad about this. Play it while you can. All 15 of you.
Because I know they went to the free-to-play model within months, right?
Yeah, it was like 3 months later. It was free to play.
They were trying to get the fucking...
It was free to play, but Randy Pitchford was like, that's not free to play. It's a trial, and you can still buy the thing. It's like, you can play that trial for friggin' ever. It's free to play, dude.
I will definitely say he is part of the problem as to why this game failed, is because in his normal, like, the only reason his rambling bullshit didn't affect Borderlands as much is because Borderlands already had a nice long history and everybody liked it. But if it was going to be a new IP and you have him doing this same shit, then the game would have been like, just kind of faltered and died. Sometimes you just got to learn to keep his ass locked in his office and tell him to shut up.
They're never going to learn to do that.
Let the smart people handle the business.
No.
Just sit there with your convoluted ideas and draw.
I do wonder if this is going to be a sign of a downturn for Gearbox with everything that's happened recently with Borderlands, and then before that, the failure of this game. I mean, I feel like even though Borderlands sold, I don't know how long you can coast on hoping that Borderlands fans are going to buy everything while Randy Pitchford's an absolute insane person.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the way he acted this last time before it actually, like, before the sale came out, like, before they did it, I'm gonna turn around and say they don't give a fuck. I honestly don't think any of them care. They don't care. And to be fair, in this toxic world that we live in, a lot of times when it comes to gamers, they probably love it. Yeah. They're probably like, yeah, he's such a rebel. He's such an asshole to everybody. He doesn't care what anybody thinks. It's awesome. No, he's a fucking dickbag. He's the head of a company. Like, this is the person that's supposed to be a business guy, but yet,
Yeah, you have somebody like him running a company, and then you have... I can't fucking think of his name, who ran Nintendo, Reggie. You have somebody like him, and you have somebody like Reggie. If you put those two next to each other, Reggie is like the godsend of what you should look at in a leader. And this guy, I have no idea how this guy got to be in the position he was in, or he is in.
Yeah,
it is ridiculous.
You shouldn't be acting like one of your characters in your video game. You know what I mean?
One of the ones that everybody
actually he acts worse to the players in his video game.
Yeah,
your villain is better than you are. Yeah, that's not okay.
Handsome Jack than I would Randy Pitchford, and I know that there's a high percentage chance that I'd just die around Handsome Jack. So still, I take my chances. Thanks.
Right.
Yeah, at least you know what you're getting with Handsome Jack.
That's true. That's true. Pokemon has decided to go ahead and sue someone once they can figure out who it is over
it's
some
for someone.
was it multiple someones
I think so.
that leaked some pictures of their official guide for Sword and Shield, and it's going to be very interesting to see how that ends up, because is the internet going to turn them over? I mean,
this is gonna be interesting, because they're gonna have to. They have their Discord, several Discord usernames and 4chan posts. Now they have to figure out how to find out who those people are.
4chan, good luck. I mean,
right?
they don't give a fuck about anything.
Yeah, but
they might care about money. So at the end
I was
of
gonna
the
say
day,
they're trolls too, and if you offer them the right thing, they'll just turn on you. Those people have no honor.
Balls,
Yeah, the honor among thieves thing only happens with honorable people.
And that's not 4chan.
Those people are just trolly shitheads who don't have anything. Like, I gave you $20 to turn your ass in. Now you're spending 15 years in jail. Eat shit. Really, for $20? Jesus.
Hey,
I love the fact that the Pokemon Company. I love that the Pokemon Company has narrowed this down to a 15-hour window between the 1st and 2nd of November.
When a smartphone app was used to snap pictures from a guidebook, these are shared with others who posted them to Discord. These images contain never-before-seen Pokemon, including their special forms and attributes that had until then been kept secret, and then they were not.
Right.
I wish them the best of luck.
I do too. Good luck. I mean, it's going to be difficult to find people like that on the internet. I mean, and there's always going to be people who leak. I mean, the whole Resident Evil 3 thing being leaked too, that'll jump into our next story too.
Yep.
Because there will always be leaks. Always. To be fair, though, the Apex
in this day and age,
leaked,
that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, Apex got leaked a day or two before, which is probably the best I have ever seen a company keep a secret until they released it. But it's always going to happen, especially for something like Pokemon.
I think the only thing nowadays, it's so funny because whatever the new Star Wars movie is, especially J.J. Abrams in charge of, he makes sure that everything is kept in wrap. You know, nobody can do anything. And recently they had that entire script that ended up on eBay, and Disney was like, "Fuck no, we're buying it." And so they bought it to get it away, just so nobody would have that information to go out. I don't know what they're doing on those sets, but you need to learn to do that inside your studio. That's the only way I can figure it out. Whatever your safeguards are, do better. Mm-hmm. Because I'm interested to see on this next one, which is Resident Evil 3 remake. The cover art actually was leaked before the official announcement, and
it still has not been an official announcement yet. Holding for Video Game Awards. Yep, Thursday.
Yep. So my question is, you all have played Resident Evil 3.
I have not. It is the only one I have never fully played.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
So this will be my first run through this game. I have played every other one, except for the Code Veronica series. I never found myself in possession of those ones.
You don't have a GameCube, do you?
Yeah, we do.
Well, I've got it on the GameCube. You want to play it on there?
Both of them. I'll just wait for the remakes since they're going to do them all.
I've got 0 to 3 on GameCube.
Okay. But yeah, this is the only one I haven't played, so I'm excited to get it and get my chance to finally play this thing.
It looks good, like the shots that I'm seeing that are on here.
I am very impressed by, I'm not super impressed by the new Chris model from 7, which, because the new Resident Evil RE engine is changing up the character model, fair enough. The Leon looks pretty damn good. I'm very impressed with him. The Claire, I'm impressed with too. She looks really good. Jill, this new model of Jill, since we just saw her in Resident Evil, looks okay for that game, but this Jill looks pretty damn good. And then Carlos, he actually looks like what he's supposed to, because in the original game, he's just looks like your super very stereotypical white guy, but he's a Mexican guy. So
he is Mexican. He's not Spanish.
Yeah, I think he's Mexican, Spanish. Okay. Sorry. Whatever. He is.
Now somebody's gonna yell
Spanish.
at you. I don't know anything about it, so I'm not sure where.
No, well, I didn't know if he was Hispanic, so from Latin America or whatever, or if he was Spanish. because you could still be named Carlos and still be a white guy.
Yes.
Didn't even.
He's South American. Is the actual.
Okay.
Is
He's
what
what
it
now?
said.
South American.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There you
I'll
go.
go ahead. I'm gonna put this picture in here and show you what he looked like originally, which is
Where are you putting it?
in the podcast thing. That's from Umbrella.
He looks gray.
If you click that link and then click his Resident Evil 3 picture, that's what he looks like right there.
He looks like.
He looks like your very stereotypical Resident Evil character. Like back in the day, they literally copy pasted onto the guy onto the next
He's like
one.
generic action anime guy.
Yes, at least this one, it looks like he's got a lot more character to him.
Yeah.
I like this model that they've got for him.
Well, we'll have to wait for Thursday and see if they announce any sort of specific release date.
I have no doubt this game is going to be good too. Like no doubt in my mind that
The
this
Claire
game
model
is gonna be
is kind of similar-esque to Keira Knightley. Chicken pointed that out to me too.
good. That's Jill.
Jill, sorry, I was thinking about Claire because you said it earlier.
When I first saw that picture, I was like, "Wow, she looks like an actor that I've seen a lot." And then I pulled up it was like, "She's in Pirates of the Caribbean," and I pulled it up, and I was like, "Oh wow, it does look like her."
A little bit. I'd agree with that. Definitely.
I'm excited.
All right.
Also, they're making a lot of fun of the Nemesis because his teeth are so big and his nose is on sideways.
Yeah, but he's supposed to look kind of weird and creepy.
Yeah, he's all fucked up.
What else we got?
So a game we were all excited about, and you all have played, and I haven't. GTFO is coming tomorrow, actually,
Yeah.
to early
For-
access.
$35.
We seem to be able to play that one together as a group, so
Yeah, again, Microsoft, get your shit together, bruh.
That's too funny. I'm excited about that, though. I'm glad that
Yes.
it's coming out. It
There's
sounds like
no
all the testing
matchmaking
they've done
yet.
is pretty good then.
So
What
you're
now?
gonna have they don't have matchmaking, so you have to get yourself a squad of 4 to play. They've got a Discord server in which you can kind of put your groups together and whatnot and look for people. They plan on putting matchmaking in later, but they're trying to get everything settled down, and then they'll put the matchmaking in so that you can do stuff. But they're trying to make sure that everything works right. This game is incredible. If you've not, well, I wish they had an alpha for it, or a beta to try a trial version so that everybody could see what it's like to play it before committing to it.
Right.
Because the game is a lot of fun. Very, 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 very difficult. It made me, Griff, Baka, and Red look like we've never played a fucking game together in our lives. Yeah. It was
Well,
pretty sad.
to be fair, we're not the most coordinated group.
we used to be.
We were, motherfucker. We were pretty fucking
We'll just have to
coordinated
get
back
back
in the
to
day.
it.
Yeah, which is why I was so fucking disappointed in us not even being able to finish the first damn level. Feels bad, man.
Too funny.
We just don't play enough.
Yeah, I know. Don't tell me. I already know that. And I put this one in here specifically for Oak. The next
Yeah.
Outlast game that's coming out is going to be co-op survival. I hope they're going to do it like Resident Evil 5, where it's actually two people working their way through this horribly tense world.
It's going to be up to 4 people.
4 people.
Yeah, it's going to be up to 4 people. I'm hoping that it just makes it, more, harder and harder to get through with the 4 people. But to be fair, I'm interested to see how the gameplay is, because part of Outlast's appeal is the fact that you can't fight, right?
Right.
Like, you just have to find your way through and hide and do all that type of stuff. Well, it's a whole lot harder to hide with 4 people than it is with 1 person.
You got to sacrifice one.
Yeah, I know. So it's like, okay, what do you do? And then is there a way to, resurrect this person? How's it going to work? I do like the fact that they're leaving the U.S. They're going to Soviet Union during the Cold War. I think that's a cool concept. It's going to be very interesting, I think, to see where this goes. I know I've got friends that'll want to play it, but I absolutely love, if those don't know why he chose me on this one, Outlast is one of my all-time favorite games. I've played through it several times. I can go through it in an hour and a half, and I'm done with it. The second one was really good, but I prefer the first one. Do I know?
You gonna start speed running? Can I put you down as a
No,
speedrunner?
no, because the speedrunners. I mean, I can go. I don't know what the non-glitch is.
Gotta go
because I won't do a glitched.
No,
Yeah,
that's fine.
I won't do a glitch because glitched is like 15 minutes.
Damn.
Yeah, well, it's because you can bypass most of the maps and get through all of it.
Okay, let's see. You said you could go through it in an hour and a half. You cut a half an hour off of that, and you can get world record.
You're Jesus.
52 minutes and 22 seconds.
So I wonder how they're getting, because some of them are cutscenes. Like, how do you get past some of that shit? I don't know. I'd have to see.
I don't know. You'd have to watch it a few times. Try it out.
Yeah.
Oak speed running. Gotcha. I'm gonna put that down for later.
I hear you. I hear you. I am excited about it though, because I like I said, I like the second one too. I think the plot line for the second one. To me, the first one was scary in the fact that it was that being inside that mental institution and stuff like that, and all the stuff that went along with it was scary. The second one, because it's outdoors and you can't really tell where anything's coming from, made it creepier in a lot of ways. And then when you figure out what's going on in the area, it makes it even worse. So it's like, okay. But I preferred the first one just because it's just fun as hell to play.
One. Holds a special. It was the first one. It holds a special place in your heart.
Yeah, true that. True that. I think I own it on 3 or 4 different things. So it's one of those type of games. And the final article we got today, which I saved for last because we've talked about it a few times.
This is the full wrap up to the whole shit that started earlier this year.
Right. As we've discussed on the show before, of course, Riot had mass lawsuits going on because of discrimination against women, sexual harassment, basically because you had 2 good old boy friends that were the head of the company and dick bags to everybody that was there. So it looks as though they're going to pay out $10 million as part of a gender discrimination class action lawsuit. And it will affect all female employees from the last 5 years. So I don't know how many employees they've had over the last 5 years that are female.
Proposed will reportedly affect almost 1,000 women who worked at Riot Games from November 14th until the date the settlement was.
So that's a decent payout.
How much is it?
That's definitely a decent payout.
1,000 or 1,000? Let's find out.
I mean, it's a salary. I mean, a good salary for a lot of people.
It's 10 million, right?
10 million. So what is that, 100,000?
10,000 each.
10,000 each. I would have gone a little higher then.
So
if I was their lawyer. Because by the time the lawyer takes his fees, it's probably closer. You're probably closer to like 8,000 each. So.
That's not the only thing either. Is that they're planning on like building infrastructure inside of the company to fix this permanently. Get people.
Shouldn't that already be part? Like we've been dealing with this for 2 years, right? So shouldn't they already have that built into it?
This is more or less.
They thought that they'd win.
Well, I think they were already starting to build it, but now it's part, like that's what else is in the lawsuit and whatnot. Like they have to do this, and they have to up their standards, and they have to have these people that are working there to make sure that everything is done correctly, and people are being treated with respect regardless of who they are, and people have places to vent, and then HR that actually does something. So,
well, and they said that part of the reason they did the payout, or the main reason they did the payout, was commitment to owning their past and healing the company so that they could move forward together. And I think that's goes back to the statement that they made back in August, where they made the statement that they were going to try to grow as a company and look into that. So I like the fact they did this, and it's nice. They've probably, if I had to guess, they've been in negotiation since then on what's a good payout amount. And a lot of times when you have this and you have a group coming in, they might be asking for $50 million. And so then you have to find that middle ground that you're willing to do. 10 million will do this. Okay, we're okay with 10 million. We get $10,000 each. Okay, we're cool with that. And everyone that's because based on a look, doesn't look like all the people, just the people that were part of the class action lawsuit. It's everyone.
Yep.
Right.
that was an employee that was female. So
I will throw this in with the Riot thing. They have also announced that they have opened up a publishing company. Riot Games is now under a company called Riot Forge, which is going to be looking to publish smaller companies and put on their platform, which they have just started. They have just changed their client to a BattleNet style client, where they will have their games that they publish on their client. So they are taking a direct attack towards Blizzard.
but it's going to be interesting to see, because I would agree with that, but it almost sounds more like, because Blizzard's making their games as well, so I would look at it more as they're going toward Epic.
Absorb. I don't see them doing a storefront. I see them just doing.
Well, that's right. Epic
client
doesn't
with
really
their
have much
game.
of one either.
Touche.
I find this whole thing super ironic because Riot, and I love their esports, but God, it hurts to be a part of a fan of them because they are 100% owned by Tencent. They are a Chinese company now, and they are expanding. They're a Chinese company in the U.S. expanding the Chinese influence in the gaming world, and they're attacking the people who just literally fell on a sword for them. These people have no honor at all. No. Like they went above and beyond for their Chinese overlords, and then their Chinese overlords were like, "Cool, get off my sword. You got this. Go die somewhere else.
Go die somewhere else. Nice.
It's just rough. It's horrible, and just all sorts of shit." But we'll see where their games start coming from and how this evolves, because Riot is planning on becoming huge, much bigger, because they've got a lot of esports money and they want to be bigger. Unfortunately.
So do you think this is a possibility that they end up taking over somebody? Well, give you an example. I can't think of the company's name off the top of my head, but it's the same one that makes Realm Royale and Paladins. Do you think they end up taking over a company like that? So now you have two competing. You got one that'll fight against Fortnite in some way, and you got the other one that'll go against Overwatch in another way.
Does Tencent own any shares in that company?
I don't know.
If
Probably they own everything else.
Yeah, no shit. If they do, I guarantee it. Tencent will be like, okay, we've got our hands in this one. We're going to drag you over and force you to work with them. Cool. Now we've got our little collective ball of shit that we're going to spread across.
Now you got an extremely popular MOBA. You have a BR, and then you have a...
they have a shooter that's
similar game to Overwatch.
On. A card game. They have a shooter that they're working on to compete with Overwatch. Okay. They have a card game that they're working on. They have an action RPG that they're working on. They have a fighting game that they're working on, and a couple more projects that they're working on too.
I'd be interested to see what that action RPG looks like.
Diablo.
They've got a lot of projects.
My guess is, considering
right
how directly they're trying to compete with Blizzard elsewhere, like almost every one of their projects is probably a competitor to a Blizzard project. So their action RPG probably does look a lot like Diablo and Path of Exile. Now, as far as their fighter game goes, Blizzard doesn't have one of those, so maybe that'll be totally independent. I guess they're trying to.
And now with League of Legends, it's cosmetics only, right? That's the only thing you're paying for, correct?
Yes, only cosmetics.
All right. So, what do they? Because they don't usually go free to play. I mean, they're only free to play right now. So, do you think these other games will be where you have to purchase them like you would a normal Blizzard game, with the exception of Hearthstone?
Yes.
I would go with yes.
Action RPG is going to be a paid game, and the shooter will be a paid game. The card game will probably be free to play like Hearthstone.
Yes.
Do they go MMO?
No.
There's rumors going around that they've already working on one for Runeterra, which is their main world.
It's hard to make a compelling MMO that keeps players these days. And honestly, part of the reason that World of Warcraft still has as many is because it's dedicated people that have been playing for a long time, and they log in almost out of habit.
Yes and no. The purpose of that is that Riot is a Tencent, a Chinese company, and League is absolutely fucking huge, probably one of the biggest games in China. And if they could tap that market into their MMO, then they can just drag
a grindy MMO designed to.
They're mostly that would mostly target their Eastern market, and they don't give a fuck about the Western market. If people play it, cool. If not, like NA for their esports side is that big. I think someone did the numbers, and I think it's like total of 14 players. There are 14 slots that new players can join in North America, and there's like 245 spots in Europe. That's how tiny the market is for North American League of Legends, whereas Europe is like massive, and China's even bigger, and Korea's even bigger. So they don't give a fuck about this side. They're more worried about the other side and growing from them.
Well, and it's a possibility that could be just based on culturally that we find games that we enjoy differently than they do there. So therefore, it's one of those, maybe that's part of the reason they're doing that, to tap into a market that's just this now to get it to this, right?
They've been trying to get it to this, but it's just not growing and hasn't been for years.
Well, but that's the thing, is they've had one game. Now you're going to multiple genres.
Yeah, that
might be popular in North America that aren't as popular in other parts of the world.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's a smart strategy at the end of the day. I just hate the fact that Tencent's behind it.
Yeah, same. It sucks that one of the biggest esports companies is an American company owned by a Chinese corporation.
There you go.
Welcome to the New World Order.
There you go. Anything else?
I think that's
pretty good. Hour and
welcome back. We missed you guys. Here's some extra content.
There you go. It's not too bad though. It could have been like an hour and a half theoretically.
No, that's true.
I mean, we spent a half an hour on ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, we're still got. We can do another 15 minutes of content. I'm sure. And this wrap up is perfectly capable of that.
That is true. That is true. Wow. Why does this go out of focus? It hates
focus.
Me. That's what it is. Focus. Goes out of focus. I don't understand.
All right, now you're just trying to make 15 minutes of content. Come on, let's go.
We appreciate everybody that hangs out with us each and every week at Infinite Respawn. As always, you can check us out on Twitter at InfiniteResPC. You can check me out personally at MDB Oaktree. Check out Griff.
At Griff Slanum.
Check out Chicken.
At Elite Chicken 313.
Check out Baka.
Baka Pickle.
Also, make sure you go to Griff's YouTube channel. How many you got this week?
I don't know. I'm supposed to record today, but it's already 4 o'clock, and I'm pretty tired, so I don't know if I might have one this week. We'll see.
One this week. Okay. Yeah. Well, go there. Watch Red Dead Redemption 2, and if she only does one, it means you got like 6 more that you can watch.
Looking at view counts, like, nobody's really watched the last several, so I think, people have plenty to catch up on. So.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Go catch up.
Go in and watch. Watch as much as you want. Also, make sure that you go to twitch.tv/EliteChicken313. Chicken, what you got this week?
Well, we're going to try to play games this week. We'll see how it works. Seriously, I'm playing.
Are you getting GTFO?
No, not yet.
Honestly, we just bought Halo. It's kind of like a money thing right now, so.
Oh,
not that we don't want to play it, so
yes.
We will have to wait to pick it up.
Should have waited, and then you could have bought a game that actually works for you.
Ugh.
Ooh.
I can play Halo campaign all week. At least we can play that.
There you go. There you go. Also, make sure you go to mixer.com/MDB Oaktree, where I will be playing several games this week.
Video games?
Video games. Several of them. That's how that works. It's weird. Playing the Raft tonight, of course. So I'll let y'all know next week how that is. But anyway, for Infinite Respawn, I'm Oaktree.
I'm Griff.
I'm Chicken.
I'm Baka.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Please hang up and try again.